It's my pleasure to bring this goodwill message from the Federal University of Technology, Akure. We are proud of not only this conference holding in Yanagwa this day, but we are also indeed very happy to note that this library, which we are very, very proud to be associated with, is holding this conference. And this tribute is to Professor Steve Azaiki, who is associated with the Federal University of Technology as a former member of our governing council. He's a wonderful Nigerian citizen, he's a wonderful international citizen, and we are so very proud of him. I came into Nigeria only less than 48 hours ago, and before going to Akure, I chose to come over here. That's to let you know the importance I attach to this conference, the importance I attach to this wonderful Nigerian who has been able to drag us there. And I must say that Bayelsa State, for us, is one of the fledgling states and one of the fastest growing states, grateful to the good work being done by the current administration in Bayelsa State. Some of us wish we had come from this part of the world because of the opportunities offered by the Niger Delta. That's not to say that we are not proud of where we come from, but Bayelsa is one of the fastest growing states that we have in Nigeria. In terms of economy, in terms of education, in terms of prospects for business. And this, I'm not saying to patronize the state, I'm being realistic. One of the indicators, as an economist, one of the indicators that you know, that you use in assessing the growth of any society is the rate of development of infrastructure. The government of Bayelsa State is doing wonderfully well. And congratulations, Mr. Governor, as well as the chairman requested that investment in human resources be promoted. I think the government is doing excellently well in that respect, given the statistics our dear Professor Steve Azaiki just gave us. To our friends who have come from all over the world, you are welcome to one of the best states in Nigeria. Security is guaranteed, and I want to tell you that you should explore the beautiful serenity of the Niger Delta. You will sleep well, and there is no problem. I wish you all a very successful conference. Thank you very much.
Science and technology. It's not often one gets invited to be in at the ground floor at the beginning of something great. So it's a privilege to be here. And it's a moment to reflect on what I could find in my past experience, to find some words of inspiration for the newly formed society. You've heard already that I was Treasurer of the World Council of Comparative Education Societies, and that's true. I was for 12 years Treasurer of the World Council of Comparative Education Societies, and before that, a long association with that organisation. I was appointed Assistant Secretary General in 1982, and in the 30-odd years since, have worked with the World Council of Comparative Education Societies. So let me say, the World Council is an umbrella organisation that at the moment has more than 40 comparative education society members around the world. It's a global network, and it promotes and stimulates the formation of societies like ISCST to encourage open scholarship on issues that are intercultural, international, interdisciplinary around the world. And I'm sure that we all look forward to a time when ISCST, in its maturity, joins the World Council of Comparative Education Societies to make it one more in that global network. But I've been thinking also not only about my role in that professional society, but about my role in other professional societies. I've been a member of at least 4 of those member comparative education societies, and on the executive council of one, the British Association of International and Comparative Education, and I was also the founding secretary of the Academy for Social Sciences in the UK. I tell you all of that not to puff myself up, but to tell you, first, I understand how important it is to establish and to maintain and to give support to these professional societies that facilitate exchanges between scholars. And I tell you that also to say that I know exactly how much work is involved in supporting those societies and in organising conferences. So I very much appreciate the work that Professor Steve Asiaki has been doing with his, I'm sure, team of supporters. And looking back over those years then, I want to stress how important it is to maintain these societies through their early stages when they grow from being little to being big. Why is that important? You've heard there are, already this morning, from an earlier speaker, there are 7 billion people on the globe. 7 billion human beings. And you will all have heard, I know, of the 7 degrees of separation. That if you pick any 2 people on the surface of the globe, you can find a chain of people, a friend of a friend of a friend of a friend, that will connect those 7 people together. Doesn't that strikes me as remarkable, I hope it strikes you as remarkable, that only 7 people can connect any 2 people on the globe. And the fact about networks is, the reason that such a huge number of people can be connected by such a small number of steps, what supports and facilitates that is that there are some extraordinary individuals. There are some extraordinary individuals who straddle boundaries, who straddle national boundaries, who straddle disciplinary boundaries, and they make what should be a very big network into a very small network. We might call them small world networks. And in creating small world networks, the role of organisations like the ICEST is pivotal, is fundamental. Because it's people who make those bridges that shorten the links between distant people. And becoming a global society, we need the people and the organisations and the networks that can make the small world networks. So let me finally conclude with a reflection on technology, because there is a myth, there is a belief out there that because we're all connected to the internet, the world is becoming smaller. And I want to tell you it's not true. Most of the people don't use the internet to make the world smaller. Most of the people who go onto the internet to have their ideas confirmed, to find people who believe things like they believe, and to find people who will reaffirm them in their beliefs. The internet isn't a network that makes the world a small world network. The internet is, at the moment, a network that makes the world bigger and more distant and more separated. So at the present moment, when we need globalization and global connections between people, at the present moment when we have the technology available, we need and depend upon organisations like the ICEST that can stretch across boundaries in order to bring us together and in order to make the world intellectually connected and smaller. And it's for that reason I'm very proud and very privileged to be here to offer encouragement at the inaugural meeting of this new and very valuable and worthwhile society. So I thank you all, and I hope you will join with me in wishing the new society great success.
This wonderful, supportive wife is here. My dear brothers, participants, members of the press, very distinguished ladies and gentlemen. First of all, I am here in two capacities. I'm here as the representative of Mr. President. And secondly, I'm also here in my capacity as governor of this great state of Bayel. But let me take the President's remarks first. Mr. President was so passionate, very passionate about this society and particularly about this conference that he called me up some days back. Only very few times he has done so, asking me specifically to represent him at this event. And I told him I had earlier given my word that I was going to be here. But he said, look, make sure you are there and represent me and deliver my remarks. So I'm here executing firstly a presidential order, a presidential mandate, and let me begin by expressing how profoundly grateful I am to Mr. President for that honor of representing him at this wonderful conference. First, Mr. President brings you all greetings and warm felicitations. And he asked me to say how happy he is that this conference is holding for the very first time in our country, in his home state, this great state of Bayel. He asked me also to express his appreciation to the wonderful job, the work that Professor Azaiki and members of his team and all of you have been doing, putting this group together. And I believe a number of you may have known by now that Mr. President himself is not just an educationist. The President is also a scientist. And therefore, unlike me, qualifies to be a member of your association, of this body. I'm not going to speak as a scientist, but I know that when I take a copy of this journal to Mr. President, I know him as a very studious man, as a lecturer that is always been. He will go through this journal, and I won't be surprised that he will not just go through it. I believe whenever he finds the time, either within his period of service or thereafter, I won't be surprised if he adds a contribution to this journal himself. And so I can say that Mr. President will be very happy when I present this to him. And let me therefore on his behalf also appreciate all the contributors and all of you who have worked tirelessly, not only to put this association together, but also to contribute to propagation of knowledge. You have today heard 3 professors speak. Professor Azaiki, and seated by his side is another professor, my secretary to state government. But then we've also listened to the very professorial remarks by the chairman of this occasion, Professor Ison, and also the wonderful keynote delivered by Professor David Turner. But I am not a professor, and neither am I a scientist like the President is. On behalf of the government and the good people of this state, therefore, I would like to simply welcome all of you to this great state of Bayel, the glory of all lands, which we also call the Jerusalem of all the Jordan. You are welcome. Here in our government, in the restoration government, we have a popular saying that all good human beings are firstly Bayelsan. The only qualification for being a Bayelsan is to be a good person. And I've seen that all of you are good and wonderful people, from Professor Turner to his wife and to all of you. Therefore, to you all, I say you are all Bayelsans. I don't think it's a coincidence that you brought your inaugural conference to this glorious and blessed land. Because this is a land of great things, a land of good people. And all good things have always started here, including the crude oil that has made so much difference to our country and to our world. Discovered here. And I know that the fact that you are holding this inaugural conference in Bayelsa means that even the sky is not going to be the limit of this society. And so I welcome you all on behalf of the government and the good people of this great state. Professor Azanke and I talked about this society. Unfortunately, didn't quite educate me as to whether I'm qualified to be a member, not an inside. But quite frankly, I feel honored to be so admitted at some future dates. I'm happy that my state is playing host to all of you. And I've been told that you are all coming from far and near, all over the world, to visit the glory of all lands. And this is where you see the difference government and vision and commitment and partnership can make within a very short period. And you are not in the wrong place. This is where we have made education topmost priority. For in vain, as Professor Etiti Stone, our chairman, said, do you build roads and bridges? Those are very good, and we are doing a lot of that. I'm sure by the time you find time to go around and enjoy the beauty and serenity of this environment, you will see the physical, infrastructural development going on. But in our government, we understand that while these physical developments are good in themselves, a far more enduring contribution and a far greater challenge to our world remains the development of human capital. That's why my government, immediately we came on board, declared an emergency in education. And even though I'm not a scientist, but I can see that your society talks about comparative education, science and technology. We're interested in solving the problems of our world, then we must be interested in education. We must be interested in science, we must be interested in technology. How do we end wars? How do we feed these 7-point-something billion human beings? How do we keep our Earth, an entire universe as we know it, safe and habitable, such that we can bequeath onto future generations what our parents and forefathers and mothers bequeathed onto us? How do we organize human societies to avoid conflict? How do we even resolve conflict when they arise? How do we feed these teeming billions of human beings? In short, how do we address the myriads of problems that we are confronted with? Problems that we cannot wish away. Problems that generations before us saw, that tried their best to solve. Problems that will continue to be there. We can only do this when we invest in education, when we advance the frontiers of science and technology. And any education, anybody who's interested in the future of our world, any policy maker, any administrator, any political leader must be interested, therefore, in the work of this society of yours. I want to thank you for coming together in the way and manner you have done. And I want to particularly welcome you all to Bayel. My government will offer to underscore our commitment to partnering with you all and all those who are interested in working to promote education. My government will, if your society will accept, we will donate a secretariat, a permanent secretariat to you all. In this great state of Bayel, because this is where education, this is where we are making education our first priority, education our second priority, education our third priority. And education always. Just before coming here, I received in audience the Honorable Minister of Education, Malam Ibrahim Shekarabi, who is on a project inspection tour. And I told him the investments we are making in education is second to none. In this state, we are building schools and schools and schools, and yet more schools. We are sending more and more scholars and scholarships, and yet more will go out. So in this state, it's education, education. And so, we are very, very happy to have you all here. And if you will accept our offer, donate the secretariat, and also offer to host your annual conferences, to co-host your annual conferences. I am aware that some of the situations that you met on this visit are not quite what it should be. I've heard about 4 rooms given and 15 people sleeping in those 4 rooms. I'm sure by the time you visit next year, should you take our offer, I don't know what I will get from this offer will be a counter offer or an acceptance. That's how we lawyers are trained to do. If I were to get an acceptance, then I can confidently that by next year, when you will be coming to Bayel, you will not have to land in Port Harcourt Airport. You will land on the International. And that is not a wish, it's already happening. Under construction, and will be completed very soon. And by next year, should you accept our offer to be here, you will have lots of hotels and other facilities that will keep you busy. For we are indeed not just the center of education, we are also the headquarters of tourism and leisure and hospitality in Nigeria. We're working to broaden the base of our economy beyond oil and gas. And education, again, is critical in that area because you can't even build a vibrant, self-sustaining economy unless people have the right kind of knowledge and skills that come with it. So all in all, we are very, very grateful and we feel honored to have you all in our midst. On behalf of the government and the good people of this great state. We wish this society association well in your future endeavors. We look forward to partnering with you all. For example, one of the areas we can partner, we're thinking of feeding children free in secondary schools. So provision of free school meals. We give free uniforms to children. We need collaboration in that. Sandals, books. We provide books to every child of school age in our state, uniform, sandals, books. We pay tuition and even examination enrollment fees for all our students. So in this state, no parent or guardian pays WAEC, NECO, or JAM. The government does. Now, we have just built a modern institution, which I don't think, well, let me not say it doesn't exist in any other state, but I've not heard of it. The Teachers Training Academy. And this is where working with people like you becomes vital to the success of our various initiatives on education. We have a facility now completed that will be commissioned very early next year by Mr. President. And I want to use this opportunity to invite all of you when we do take the date to join us, is to commission the Teachers Training Academy. Because the training and the retraining of teachers is far more important than building even schools that we have built. We have built so many schools with modern facilities and so on. Now, every State House constituency in this school has a boarding school. We call them constituency schools. We are taking education to the people and taking the people to education. Right in the hand. But a well-educated young man or girl, take for example young boys who stay in the forest and in the creeks, brandishing an AK-47, and then coming out to maybe kidnap an 80-year-old man or woman, or some oil worker. We're dealing with that by means of enforcement, aggressive law enforcement, deploying technology, and making our state far safer than any other state, as Professor Zaike said. But then we must address the root causes of crime. Good to fight crime, but better still to find the causes of crime. Good to fight crime, better to find the causes of crime. The major one is lack of education, lack of skills, and what I called this morning in my conversations with the Honorable Minister, I said, a criminal neglect of the educational sector by successive governments. And that's why we have to build 8 modern secondary schools. Every local government there has a modern secondary school with boarding facilities that can take at least 1,000. And as I said, we have decentralized it to the constituency level, where every State House constituency, all the members of the House who are here with me are overseeing that, because that is a priority to us. So by about January, all those schools are set. And right in those local areas where our people really live, they have modern educational facilities. And our intention is to incubate these young boys and girls, these young minds, and then inculcate in them the knowledge and the skills and also the values that they need to live by in an increasingly competitive and globalized world. So we are very interested when we see people like you. We want to see you as partners of the new Bayel, and I look forward to this state looks forward to working with you people individually and collectively. And please let us know partnerships that we can forge. For example, our school on teachers training. Our plan going forward is that every teacher in this state to be certified to teach in any of our schools must have gone through training program organized by that institution. So we welcome volunteers, and that's the point I'm making when I talk of partnerships. We welcome volunteers, we welcome networks that you can provide, because there are people out there who understand these things and who are waiting to support and advance the cause of knowledge as you are doing. I thank you all for coming. Thank you all for coming to Bayelsa. This is the safest state, the Federal Republic of Nigeria. This is a land of very hospitable and kind people. And Professor Zaiki said I should adopt, what I was going to adopt, Gertrude. Not only will I adopt Gertrude as a Bayelsan, I adopt all of you. Beginning with her as a Bayelsan. I consider all of you from this place, and I would like to, this state would like to work with all of you. I thank you for coming. I wish you the best, and may God also grant you all journey mercies. Thank you very much, and God bless you.
I have to tell you, after years of teaching science in schools, I recognize a scientist by the quality of the questions that they ask. And I know very well from what I have just seen that the Governor himself is equally well qualified to be a Fellow of the International Society for Comparative Education, Science and Technology. And so it's my very great pleasure to induct him in person as a Fellow of the Society.